on, guys. Man, we got so many stories here, I had to type them out. Couldn't even remember them all. Hop on in, fellas. Go ahead. It's room temperature. Come on in, hop in. Let me tell you this story about Andrew Jenkins. This is Andrew. Andrew's family has been coming to REVO for a long time. And they've been a part of our ministry and serving and loving and giving here and in our community. Here's the cool thing, though. When everything shut down and during quarantine last year, we took all of our services online. And Drew and Angela would get Andrew, and they would sit in their living room and watch the services online. Everybody else last year, everybody else was writing the church off. Everybody else was saying, oh man, the church is going to take a step back. Nobody's meeting. Come on, man. If I was going to write a story for a move of God, that's how I'd start it right there. Oh, the church, they're hosed. Oh man, no, it's bad. No, oh, they can't meet. God's not going to do anything. Well, let's just see what God does. Because as a result of one of those times where his parents were investing in him, Andrew asked the question, what's it mean to have a relationship with Jesus? And let me tell you what, his parents got to lead him to Christ in their living room. Let's go. And so here's the deal. We have Andrew that is going to it doesn't get any better than this, getting baptized by his dad, Drew, tonight. Do it, Drew. Go ahead, Drew. Yes. Woo! I love it. Let's go. Y'all come on up. Doesn't get any better than that, man. We love to equip. Our kids ministry is about equipping parents to help. We want to be your biggest fans in your kids understanding and having a relationship with Jesus, man. So, so grateful for what's going on. Let me introduce you to this couple. This is Tori Baston, easing it in there, easing it in. I like it. Here's a part of Tori's story. She never went to church really growing up as a teenager, kind of just didn't know the whole thing about God. And one day when she became a parent, she made the decision that she wanted her kids to know about church and to know about God and to know about Jesus. And so her kids actually got her into church, her heart for her kids to be in church. That's where she started learning about who Jesus is and what Jesus had done for her. And in an opportunity to get her kids in the door, Jesus ended up changing this girl's life. And she was, oh man. And so her husband is getting ready to baptize her tonight. So James, take it away, brother. Yes. Oh, I love it, man. I love it. Families taking next steps together. I love that. Come on up. Come on in. Part of, this is Christy, part of Christy's story is that she felt like she knew who God was and had heard of God before, but there were definitely times in her life where she said she questioned why my life is the way it is. Man, come on, all of us in this room can admit and relate to that. Sometimes we just look at God and say, why? What's going on? Why is it happening like this? Why is it unfolding like this? And she started to be interested in what it would be like to have a relationship with God, to go all in with God. And part of her story is this: she realized through a relationship with her kids started asking questions about who Jesus is. And I love this quote from her. She said, I realized I needed to start doing the work, and I needed to figure out how to answer these questions, how to tell them about who God is. In the midst of that story, Jesus ends up changing her life. And she wants to stand in front of you guys and celebrate this decision that Jesus has changed her life and her next step in her relationship with Jesus. Amy is going to baptize her today. Oh, yeah. Woo! So good. So good. Come on up here, Lauren and Travis. Love families taking next steps together. Lauren, if you know Lauren, you know the last year has been tough. Her faith has been tested more. Her relationship with God has been tested more than it ever has. And she's realized that in order to have the joy and in order to have the perseverance that she needed to make it through what life was throwing at her, she had to get serious about her relationship with Jesus. She had to nail that faith down. And she says, I love in her part of her story, he's like, I know God is the one that pulled me through what I've been through in my life over this past season. He has given us life. And listen to this. He said, now it's time for me to give God fully my life. And she wants to take that next step, give her life to Jesus and be baptized this morning. Let's go, Travis. Oh, let's go. Let's go. I love it. Come on up, Caroline. Caroline's got a story that maybe some of you can relate to. Lived a pretty charmed life growing up. Let me tell you what this is right here. Let me explain to you how God is moving in our student ministry. Let me make some room for y'all. Our students, man, we got 4 or 5 students that are getting baptized today. And here's the deal. They wanted their friends to be around the pool to celebrate with them. God is doing some crazy things through the student ministry in here, in this church, and under Matthew's leadership. Incredible what God is doing. And so you've got a group of friends that are going to celebrate over the next 3 or 4 people what God is doing in their life. So part of Caroline's story is this: grew up maybe like you did, familiar with church, knew who God was, just a part of her story. Her family raised her that way. But there comes a point in your life where you begin to ask questions, and you got to figure out, is your faith real or not? And what this story is and who God really is. And there reached a point in her life where she was asking some tough questions. Is Jesus real? Is he actually there? Do I believe what I said I really believe? And some things happened in her life that made her question, is God there? Is Jesus real? Can I still trust him? Does he still love me? Well, one of her best friends invited her to a summer camp where she heard the message of Jesus, the gospel again. And when she was 12 years old, man, it solidified all of that changed in her life. And for her, she said, man, at that moment, I knew that my life would become on fire for God. And she realized recently that her next step was to go public in that decision, to make that decision and celebrate in front of all of you, in front of all of her friends. And so, Caroline, we love you. We're here to support you and cheer you on as you take your next step in your relationship with Jesus. Yeah! Woo! I love it. I love it. All right, Patsy, you're next. Patsy is another one of our students. Listen to this. Patsy was actually a part of the South Fork Church before REVO stepped in, right? Before we were able to come in and let this be a part of our home, Patsy, her home was here. So the generation before us, the followers of Jesus that were here before us, loved her, invested in her, taught her about Jesus. She began to take next steps in that. But it was here as a part of student ministry, she was talking with some of our leaders, to Matthew, to Caroline, where she really nailed down her relationship with Jesus and wanted to say, like, Jesus is my Lord. He's my personal Savior, not anybody else's faith but mine. And right now, she wants to take this next step and be baptized by one of our other students, people. Melania was baptized last time, and now she's going to baptize her today. You got it, Melania. You can do it. Let's go. Let's go. I love it. I love it. Chelsea, come on in. Shh, that's it. That's how you get into the pool right there. Y'all pay attention. That's how you get in. Right there. It's a little bit cold. Catch your breath. You're going to be good. It's going to be awesome. Hey, this sweet girl right here, Chelsea, is part of our world downstairs and is actually being baptized by one of the Our World volunteers, her small group leader downstairs. And she had so many shout outs in her story. Miss Chastity, Miss Jess, Miss Kelsey, Miss Amy, and now Miss Morgan is going to baptize her after she made a decision to follow Jesus. Morgan, do it. I love it. Our kids ministry is about putting Jesus on a level where kids can understand, and kids are taking next steps in their relationship with Jesus week after week after week. Big shout out to Our World, all of the volunteers that serve down there, and thank you for your generosity in giving. People's lives are being changed on all levels. So Cassie, next story up. Growing up, she was not super close to Jesus, didn't know him as her personal savior, and really didn't have any idea how to grow in a relationship with God, to have a personal relationship with Jesus. She said over the years she's attended a couple of different churches, just trying to find somewhere where she could understand who God was and understand Jesus and take her next step. And she said, when I found REVO, I was able to finally find and build a relationship with Jesus. And she said, now he's a part of my everyday life and a part of who I am. And she is going to get baptized by Morgan today. Love it, man. I love it. Matthew is one of our pastors here. He's going to step into the pool. Listen, man, God is using him in a really powerful way. I'm telling you, I can't talk about our student ministry enough, man. If you have students, if you know how to spell students, you need to be involved in our student ministry. God's doing amazing things. So not only did Morgan get to baptize two of her friends, Morgan realized, I haven't been baptized. I haven't taken that next step with Jesus. And so we're like, well, can you baptize somebody? We're like, yeah, if you want to take your next step, then you can help people take their next step as well. She gave her life to Jesus at the age of 12 at a summer camp in Georgia. And once she accepted Jesus, she knew how to grow, began to grow in him. But it wasn't until recently that she realized, this is my next step, right? This is what I need to do. I want to go public in that decision that I made years ago. And so this is her next step of obedience. Matthew, our student pastor, is going to baptize her now. Yes. Yes. Love it. Get in the pool, Travis. Let's go. I love this right here because Travis knows the exact date that Jesus changed his life. He said October 24th, 2016. This was at this church, again, before it became REVO, at South Fork Baptist Church. And here's what the South Fork people told him. We were already in talks with joining together and REVO coming in. And the people at South Fork said, hey, I can't tell you what's coming, but I want you to wait to get baptized for a few weeks, right? Because something is coming. God is doing something here. And they knew that REVO was coming in. And so they said, just wait, Travis. And Travis has been talking to people, understanding what it means to follow Jesus. And so finally, years later of hanging out and serving and loving the community and loving this church, Travis is ready to take his next step through baptism and a relationship with Jesus. Let's get it, Travis. Let's go. Let's go. Come on. Come on. Let's go. Man, I love it. I love it. Come on in, Chase. We're going to make some room for you. Save the best to last. Chase Lane, I love it, man. Part of his story is this. Again, maybe a pretty common story. Maybe you're familiar with it. But he said he went to church when he was younger, but man, maybe it was just because somebody told him he needed to. Didn't really know what the purpose behind it was. Didn't know why he was doing it. But he said when he really got involved in REVO and really began to dig in and go all in, he says, my spiritual life was changed completely. He said, man, I found a new love for God and began to move forward in my faith, which involved going public in his decision to surrender his life fully to Jesus. He wanted to do that with you guys and to celebrate tonight. And so we're fired up to be able to baptize you tonight, Chase, and celebrate with you. Awesome, man. I love it. I love that. Hey, would you give these 11 people one more hand, man, just to celebrate. We're not celebrating them. We're celebrating Jesus and what he's done in their life. You guys can take a seat. Listen, that never gets old. If you want to know why we do what we do, if you want to know why we show up week in and week out, why we sing, why we give, why we study the Bible, why we live bold in our faith, why we love big and grow deep and move forward, it's because of this right here. Because I got to be honest with you, I never get tired of seeing people's lives changed by Jesus. I never get tired of people saying yes and moving forward. And today, January 31st, 2021, will be a new date in their story. Now, in our faith, we call that your testimony, right? When God begins to write a story of your life, when he changes your life. And so we're going to sing two more songs right now. Listen, the party does not stop. It's just getting cranked up right now because we get to celebrate what Jesus is doing. We're going to sing a song called My Testimony. If you have a testimony of how Jesus changed your life, like I have a story of how he changed my life, like these people have a story, then it's time for you to stand up and get loud. It's time for you to stand up and worship with me and talk about what Jesus has done and how he's changed your life just like he's changed theirs. I love this story. It's called My Testimony. Would you sing it with us?